the question had to be asked after the bye week.
Okay.
Who's at quarterback this weekend against Northwestern?
Okay.
In case there was any questions, Matt Rule addressed that yesterday. Here's his answer.
Yeah, I think we're working hard to get Jeff to be the best that he can be. We're working hard to get Heinrich and Chuba to be the best that they can be. We'll play with Heinrich, for now. Jeff is ready to go on a moment's notice. We sometimes mix him in with the ones a lot in practice. I would have no problem ever having a package to play two. I'm not saying we would do that, but I have no problem with the way he works. But to me, Heinrich's played well. Heinrich's done some good things, and so he'll be the starter.
Okay, there you go.
I think he said that last week. It's not neither here nor there, but he talks so fast that
just confirming.
Yeah, he talks really fast, and it was presented last week as there's some shift in this, but I swear to God he said that last week. At any rate, it's not like a full blown here's our future.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, he's our guy right now.
Jeff's ready at a moment's notice.
Yeah,
he's ready.
And I like it. I like that. I like the way it is because it's competition. And I think that's good. And Jake, as you know, it wasn't like that in the spring and August.
No.
It was Sims's job.
Absolutely.
There's
not much question about it either. That's the guy. That's the dude.
And the message from on high was that we have our guy. There's a battle for number 2. So that conversation's changed dramatically. Haarberg is the guy, but it's not by a wide margin. So, but it's good to have a guy.
Yes, it is. Haarberg's the guy for this weekend against Northwestern. You asked a question, Sip. You asked a question in this press conference. Right? Bill likes.
I enjoy this,
and we have the audio of Sip asking the question.
It's not all that professional.
Let's see what he had to ask about the Big Ten in general. Big Ten West. Here's Sip's question about that.
Do you hear the narrative that you hear it a lot? Big Ten West is down, it's bad. How do you react to that? Do you have any reaction?
I have none. Yeah, this is my first time going through it, and then Big Ten West will be gone next year anyway. So, I was a young coach because I don't want you guys to think I'm always just like coach speak. I was a young coach, head coach at Temple, and I sat down at a table at the retreat with all the American Conference coaches were there. George O'Leary, who I really looked up to, was there, and UCF was rolling at the time, and he was going to become the AD. And I was like, "Yeah, coach, we play." I forget what year it was. I was like, "Man, we play Penn State, but then we got Cincinnati," and he was like, Maddie. And he's like, "Just play them one at a time." And you hear that, but the teams I thought were going to be really good that year actually were pretty down, and the teams I thought were going to be down that year were really pretty good. And so, I think we face good teams each week. I think it's a battle each week. I just think there's always the narrative out there. Like people watch the Iowa-Wisconsin game and say it's a bad football game or it's an ugly football game. I think it's a beautiful defensive football game. And I see a lot of teams that scored a lot of points early in the season in games this week and not quite score quite as many points as the year gets on and people catch up and it gets a little colder. So, I was on its way to having another great year. And people are making a big deal about how many points they score. They're scoring one more than their opponent in most games. So I think I don't know anything about the Big Ten West other than I'm facing each one each year. And after the year, I'll probably have a better feel for, kind of who everyone is. And then we'll shuffle it up and we'll be going to the West Coast and I'll do my best to figure that out.
Do you have the quote about what the problem's been with Nebraska football? It was real early. It was really early. Like the second. No.
The inability to fight adversity early in games, that one?
It was more about not letting the outside conversation affect him.
The negative noise?
No, it's not negative. You could try that one. It's about like looking ahead.
All right, let's play that one.
Yeah.
Here we go. Matt Rule from yesterday.
Again, don't we just want our players to go out there and fight the play? Like, I struggle with, you can tell, I'm always going to defend my players and my coaches. I struggle with the fact that, like, these players are here to get Nebraska football over the hump because it hasn't been over the hump, and these coaches are here. Like, when I go in for my heart exam and my doctor tells me I have calcium, I don't yell at the heart doctor. You know what I'm saying? I don't yell at the guy trying to fix the problem. So why would anyone say anything bad about the kids that are out there playing to try to get us back to a bowl game? Why would anyone say anything about the coaches that are trying? Like, that's crazy to me. So I see the impact it has on young people. It's devastating to them. It really is. Most of my job is about, hey guys, ignore the noise, ignore it, ignore what people are saying about you. And that, I'm having to do that a little bit in recruiting sometimes too. Like, coach, why well, I don't know. Do the recruits need to hear everyone talk about that we're not good at this and not good at that? I don't know. So it's the job. It's challenging. I relish this. I'm not complaining about it. Everybody has a job to do. Fans have, but I'm proud of our players. And I say this so that they hear it, the parents hear it, and a PFF score does not determine who they are. Ethan Piper's out there playing with a broken hand. Right, he's pass protected number 4 from Illinois, who's going to be a first-round draft pick with a broken hand, and we won the game. I'd hug the guy, not grade him.
That was not the quote. It was not. I don't know. Don't worry about it. That was an interesting. He was talking about in that quote. He was talking about PFF grades, which I don't know what Bill's thought on those are. Man, Rule hates them.
Well, the issue there's some interesting things about it with. Just looking at how isolated you can look at different things now, but the PFF grades are picked up by someone randomly who is grading them.
Right. So
it's just some guy in his basement.
Yeah.
Basically,
or guys
like that. So, but can they actually look at something and be like, that's not? There's some things you look at and go, no matter who you are, it's like that's not good. Hey, I had to pass protect the edge and I got beat. That's not good. But overall, to have the grade and have that look at it, and also
know about it though.
Then PFF grades can get into your head,
right?
With not with your head, but they get into.
Yeah, they do.
All of a sudden, it gets very personal. It's like, the old if it's like, hey, the D line's they're playing okay, they're playing pretty good. Oh, are they? Because the PFF grade says this, or they're playing outstanding, they're playing terrible. Really? Because the PFF grade says this. Sometimes like that. Well. They ran the ball really well against your defense like that. So the D line, right? Sometimes it's like, no, the D line actually played really well. The linebackers didn't fit it, or vice versa. You don't know all the things, so you can have some things.
Interesting.
And when you don't know the call,
right?
You don't know the exact way that they're playing it. What's being taught?
What's being asked?
But there's certain times. Give me an example. They throw the ball to you 4 times, and you drop 3 of them. So your PFF grade is going to be bad, and it probably should be.
Right.
I don't care who's judging. I don't care that it's not very good.
Right.
But there is some things with it that does make you wonder a little bit again of how it's looked at, how it's graded, and it gets very, very, very personal.
It does.
It gets because right now you can get everyone's PFF grade.
He said that caused him most problems with players at Carolina. That he was constantly having to address it with players. The PFF grade. We're talking about Pro Football Focus for the uninitiated. Pro Football Focus grades each player in college football and pro football every game. People naturally are drawn to it because now what I don't get into the grades. I kind of look at the grades. I pass through them. I don't commit them to my memory, but they do give you snap counts, which is valuable. For a guy like me who's not on the sideline charting, I'm trying to take in a lot of different things.
I think it's really cool to look at.
Yeah.
He's played 500 some snaps so far this year, or whatever. He's played every single snap for that team,
right.
So it shows it shows availability.
Snaps, yes, just snaps. Like Blaise Gunnerson played 10 snaps against Illinois. Why Gunnerson only played 10? I didn't even notice that. That's the kind of thing. Well, he was banged up. But that's the sort of thing. But the grades, Rule talks in depth about, and I wouldn't have guessed this necessarily, that how much he has to counsel players who are getting graded poorly by PFF or just hearing a lot of negative noise. He talked, now Jake, I wonder if you have this sound. We can't do this thing where we get the wrong sound, but does he have the sound about the offensive line and the criticism they take?
I do have that one. Here's Matt Rule on the offensive line from yesterday.
I think our offensive line has gotten better and better and better. I think they are one of the groups that I'm going to speak for them. I think they're one of the groups that's really been scarred, but they're scarred still by the things that are said about them out there, and they hear it. They probably were hearing it too much and not having a lot of fun playing. And I think that they, in the last 2 weeks, have really kind of gotten past that a little bit. I think they, I just don't. When you run the ball for 200 yards a game, no matter how you get it, like you don't do that if guys aren't playing well, if tight ends aren't blocking, if guys aren't running. I think the biggest thing that I've seen improvement in is our pass protection. We're getting better and better and better in pass pro. We're not here to throw the ball 45 times a game. So, but we're getting better in those regards. But I like our offensive line. I like, the amount of things that they see, the amount of things that people throw at us because we don't throw it a ton. The amount they blitz us, they are unsung heroes to me.
That is scarred. That word got me. The offensive line scarred from the criticism. And I see, I always sort of think that people can dismiss that stuff, dismiss what the guys are right and what the people are saying on Twitter. But I guess it's probably harder than I give it credit for. I don't know. I'm older, so I don't care about it. There's so much noise now that I think it drowns itself all out. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I don't react to criticism the same because I get so much of it. And you don't even care. At some point, it's like, man, it's just a lot of noise. Like, what's it even matter?
Different times, obviously.
Different times.
And I would say this, everyone at that age is extremely aware of what's out there.
Yeah,
that's just everyone. That's not Nebraska's offensive line. That's everyone. Every someone that just goes to is in a fraternity.
Leighton
would be like very aware of what something was being said about him, social media wise. It's not like, hey, did you see it? No. Now something could slip past me pretty fast,
right?
Really fast because I people say, did you see that? No, I didn't.
Doesn't matter.
But everyone at that age level, they know. And they know.
Yeah.
And they also know at the same time at a place like Nebraska that should be factored in is that you also get a lot of praise.
That's true.
And sometimes even if it's not completely, justified every time, sometimes you get a lot of praise, you get a lot of positives. So this is probably one of the, as far as the programs to be at, it's heavily viewed, but you are still looked at in a very high, with very, very, what's the word I'm looking for like that? That it was just high praise.
Exalted?
Yes.
That's the word.
And so they also get a lot of positive. And if things are in that 50-50 range of what I may say or comment, generally it's going to go positive. More so for the players. Coaches might be different. They'll take a little bit more heat on different things. Players, people are still very, very much in this state pro player.
I would like some unjustified praise. That's what
maybe you could get it for when you quote Jake on some of your topics.
No, it's always me. It's quoting. Yeah, that makes sense for me. Yeah.
What else, Jake?
Yeah, well, here's Matt Rule regarding this upcoming weekends. Looking at Northwestern and nothing else. Not looking ahead.
That's what I was going for.
That's what I was going. Here we go, Matt Rule from yesterday.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the big picture. I think that's the problem with Nebraska football.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that's why we've gone 1-5 down the stretch most years. Looking at things outside of just going 1-0 this week. Evaluating the offensive, defensive coaches, evaluating the offense versus all this stuff outside the program. I'm going to do my best to keep it from infiltrating the program. We've got to get a way to get 1-0 this week. We've got to try to improve this week. It's going to be a real challenge. So to me, I had a chance to watch the teams we play. I was really happy to see Illinois play well. Because that obviously anytime we play someone, we beat them and then we see them play well, it makes us feel good about who they are. So Northern Illinois go get a huge win over a 5-1 Ohio U team. So, I feel good about where our team is, but our team has got to eliminate the looking past just what's important this week. When we got embarrassed at Michigan, we didn't think about anything else other than Friday night, and we were locked in. And we're going to find out about myself as a head coach and our coaches and our players and our staff. Can we have that same focus this week? We better.
Yeah, the thing he said that made the most sense to me is there are teams out there that are very talented that don't have to be on their screw. I don't know, Bill. You might push back on this. That don't have to be on their screws every single game. That they're good enough they can be flat on a Saturday and still win. Nebraska's not in that category.
And there are very few teams that are. There's only probably a handful that can be.
Handful.
I've seen Michigan sleepwalk a little bit this year,
Yeah.
and you've seen Georgia do it in the past. Like I said, they took everything they could to beat Missouri last year.
Yeah.
A very poor Missouri team.
Yeah.
And we're behind and could easily lose, and then they win by 60 in the national championship game.
No kidding.
So there's a difference on when.
God, there is a difference. That is remarkable if you think about it. That's a good point.
What you talk about, we talked about here, it's so hard to have your team ready, dialed in to do that. There's no way I would imagine that if Maryland played Illinois 10 times, I think Maryland would beat them 9. and then they just caught them on the one. They were asleep at the wheel, couldn't pick it up,
That's a good point.
couldn't get going. All those things happen. I mean, how does all of a sudden Northwestern come back and beat Minnesota
From the dead.
From the dead. I mean, Rutgers beat Michigan State from the dead. There was like the probability had to be in the mid 90s. It was 24 to 6 in a driving rainstorm at Rutgers.
Yep.
No fans all left. There's 8 people at the game.
There wasn't much signs of
There was
hope for
at
Rutgers.
that time. The chance of victory had to be in the high 90s,
But you keep
and
playing.
they win going away.
Rutgers,
It was 27. It felt like Rutgers beat them by 40.
God.
That's what the game felt like.
Yeah, I got a
fourth
question
quarter.
for Bill. We don't take advantage of him enough. I've never really, this never occurred to me till this moment. Did you show up to games where there was maybe one side of the ball that was dialed in, but the other wasn't, or there was even one position group that was a problem, and that became the problem?
Well, there's been times where there be a problem or not, where it was hard where one side wasn't maybe playing what they normally could expectation wise. There's been, we had a tough game against at LSU the week after we beat Alabama at Alabama. We go to Ole Miss. We're in control. Offense is moving the ball at will. Defensively played well. We had a little bit of a panic attack right before halftime. They had a drive, and we had also at halftime we're making a bunch of different thoughts and adjustments. And then Ole Miss was really talented, and they scored a bunch of points on us. We had the game. Still was always never really in doubt. Won the game, but it was a very concerning game for us.
Ed was concerned.
Yeah, it was very concerning, and it was very the flight home wasn't a fun flight.
God,
even
you won.
And even after you won, it wasn't that was a tough flight. It also helped us down the road to keep winning to win a national championship, but a tough game to be able to deal with. So there are so many things that go on during the game. During the week and all the different things. And that's why you're just like, how did that happen? Sometimes it's how you travel. Sometimes it's whatever. You name it. There's something little that goes on. That's why we have head scratchers every single day. And the thing that comes up with when we talk about sometimes opportunities.
Yes,
because there's been opportunities for a lot of players when things popped up. Also, they took advantage of them. One of those situations. Well, one of those is what's happened at Nebraska, because I have a hard time believing that against Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech, or Illinois, that Jeff Sims or Chubba Purdy don't win those 3 games. If they're the starting quarterback, they would probably win those 3 games. Now, Heinrich did his job and did a very good job. That's not what I'm saying. But opportunity was different. That was a different situation than what someone had to deal with during that time. So now with his opportunity, what he did very well was played well, won the game, and significantly reduced turnovers.
Yes, he did.
That's what came up with it. So I'm not arguing with like well, maybe it should be someone else. That's not it. I'm not even saying
he's got an opportunity.
I'm just saying they got an opportunity, and the opportunity came. It didn't have to go into a buzzsaw. Didn't have to go into, and I wouldn't say I'm not going to put by
Colorado
buzzsaw. No, Colorado or Minnesota are not buzzsaws at all.
He wasn't a reason for a loss.
Right.
Like you say, just circle that guy.
So you always look at that sometimes like that. It's like how would this have played out? Right now, there's a pretty good chance that if Sims never gets hurt, that he's 3-3. I would say the odds would be high 90s.
Okay,
that's where they would
win those 3 games.
I think so.
Win those 3 games like that because they were able to run the ball, play good defense. So I feel the same way about if it was Chubba Purdy in those 3 games would have been in that same spot. Whether the turnovers been the same, who knows? But that's how I'm just talking about opportunities that come your way.
That makes sense.
Opportunities that come your way. Just like the opportunities that are coming someone's way right now, they're way different. Is Anthony Grant. His opportunities are completely different now than what they were
starting the season.
At the start of the season. I would imagine, like I said, I know he had a tough fumble against Illinois.
Yeah, he did.
Really hard to say we're going to set him down right now. Because without the 2 we're all of a sudden it's
depth issues there.
Well, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
that's hard.
When
you have those spots, you can still do that. So again, I think the coaching staff's doing a great job with it, but it's always about opportunities that come up with it.
Reimer's back. I don't think you need to play that sound. Luke Reimer will play this game. He missed the last 2 with an infection they call an ARSA, A-R-S-A.
MRSA.
MRSA.
MRSA. MRSA.
My bad.
You forgot the M.
Yeah, MRSA. Is it MRSA?
MRSA.
I don't know what that is, but it's an infection.
Serious.
Is
Just,
it?
you know, it's serious.
I
Yeah,
think
super
that
serious,
there's a big problem with that. Like Schiano's team with the Bucks a few years ago when he was with Tampa Bay. There's a big MRSA
Ugh.
breakout. It was
that a
weird.
locker
It was
room
odd.
issue?
It could, yeah, it's just, it's scary stuff. It's super scary.
Oh, yeah. It's not a joking matter at all.
Anytime you're dealing with that type of an infection, it's really, really, you know.
He's back. Luke Reimer's back. There's no Singleton's still out. I don't think there's. You know what? I mean, knock on wood, they're in pretty good shape physically. You know, after all the losses on offense, now they've settled in. They got to find offense, though. That's the thing.